The question for today's video is, what is a homeschool co-op and should I be involved in one? What is homeschool co-op? When do you do them? Where do you do them? And why? Why in the world do you do them? And should I be involved in one if I am a homeschooler? Let's answer these questions. Basically, it's multiple families coming together. Sometimes they're big or small, and they kind of like play school together, and they share in the load of teaching their kids and educating them. That's what a co-op is. Now, when do they do it? It depends on the group, of course. It's always on one day of the week. Sometimes it's been in the morning, only in the morning, and then we're done by the afternoon. Or we come in the afternoon and just have it after lunch until, 3 or 4. And then some co-ops have it in the morning and the afternoon. I'm in a co-op right now, and that's what we do. We do it on Wednesdays, and we do it from about 10:30, all the way to about 3:30, sometimes 4. Okay, now where do you meet? A lot of the people that do co-ops, they meet in churches. It's easier sometimes to meet in churches because during the week, they don't really have anybody there except for maybe their pastors and secretaries that are in the office, and the rest of the building is pretty empty. I've done co-ops in people's homes when it was a very small group. We would trade around homes. I've done it in people's outbuildings and sheds that were kind of out in behind their house, or some do it in an office building that may be vacant during that day of the week, so that they can use the different classrooms and areas of that building. All right, now the last question, why? Why do people do a co-op? Well, there are multiple reasons, as you can guess. But one reason is they like their kids to find friends that are also homeschoolers. So the social aspect of it is very important to parents and the homeschool kids. Another thing is they like to have subjects that they can't do at home, like sports or theater or choir, things like that, where they need a big, huge group to be able to do that subject. And another reason is it just makes it a little bit easier on the parents to have their kids go once a week and be taught by somebody else. And plus, they get to experience what a classroom setting would kind of be like. Now, it's not exactly like public school, but it is somewhat of a classroom experience. And then, of course, another reason could be the community support that you have together as a homeschool group. Now, sometimes these co-ops are not that close because they are so large. And the things that they provide are mostly just on that once a week in the classroom setting. But I know of a lot of co-ops where the extracurricular activities outside the classroom are just as important. Now, there of course are horror stories of co-ops. I've heard them, I've seen them, I've been involved in 1 or 2. And so at the end of the video, I'm going to tell you some tips of what do you need to look for in a good co-op to hopefully make sure you have a good experience. So hold on to the end of the video for those kind of tips. The next question is, should I be involved in one? Well, there are a couple of factors that you really need to consider. Any of those reasons I stated before of the why, the social network, having subjects that you can't do at homeschool, the community, having a little bit of help with your homeschooling. If any of those, like even just one you want, it would be a great idea for you to join a co-op. If any of those reasons do not even interest you one bit or your children, then I don't think you really need a co-op, personally. Trying to choose which co-op, I want you to think of 2 people, of course. I want you to think of you. Ask yourself these questions. How will it affect the things that I'm already doing for my kids in homeschooling? Do you need more on your plate? There might be a lot of things that you have to consider in putting into your schedule. Some co-ops require the parents to be involved with something of babysitting or doing a class or home monitoring or helping cleaning. Is that going to work for you? The other person you should consider are your children. Are they ready for this kind of day? It can be a little exhausting if you've never experienced a classroom setting for all day. You need to probably take a second look at really why you want to do these co-ops. As homeschooling parents, we sacrifice a lot for our children, and so this may just be a no-brainer. Of course, you're going to do whatever it takes to help your children get the experiences and the education that you want for them. Just make sure that you're not trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. Hey, if you're learning something here and enjoying this, give me a like, that would be awesome, and subscribe. That would help my channel out a bunch, and I will love you forever. I've heard so many horror stories out there. I don't want to scare you, but homeschooling co-ops are not created equal. That is for sure. Some of the ones I've been involved in have been a flop. We only lasted 1 year and it was gone. And then others, like I'm in now, we're going on our 12th year of homeschool co-op. So here are some of the tips I promised you about making sure you get the right co-op. Number 1, does this co-op group have a good communication with its members? Do you have some type of email system or Facebook group or phone tree? I don't know. You need to make sure that this group is communicating back and forth. It is so critical for the leadership of this group to be giving the right information at the right time for your group. If there is no communication going on at all, and the only communication is when you're at co-op, that is a red flag for some problems to show up. Number 2, do they have policies and even bylaws put in place? Are they organized? What do you do when a family is upset about something that happened in their child's classroom? What do you do about someone who doesn't pay their fees? How much does it cost for your children to attend? Are there cleaning fees? Are there building fees? Are there insurance fees? You got to make sure all of these things you've researched out. And then the last one, which I think is very important, is there a chief? Is there a president? Is there somebody that is taking charge of this? Or is it just a whole bunch of moms just thinking, all right, what do we do? I don't know. What do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? There's got to be somebody in charge. When there's somebody in charge, there's somebody that will be making decisions, which will make it a lot easier. I hope those tips are helpful for you to decide and to research out these co-ops. Hey, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video with another question answered by me. Toodles!